And welcome everybody to this edition of Process Spotlight. This is another update we're going to bring you. And here we are in America, the United Socialist States of America, I guess. It's crazy. We got the truckers headed towards D.C. Now, by the time this airs, this is Sunday. This is March 6th, right?
Yeah.
This is March 6th, and my birthday was yesterday.
I was going to say, you turned 73.
No, wait, I'm not old like you.
Oh.
I'm 62 yesterday on March 5th. This is March 6th today. And your pastor, your son, is also March 5th.
And my son-in-law was March 5th.
Yeah, and we was at your church today, and we got to partake in some celebrations there. And this is crazy what's going on. So
it's crazy.
We ended the update yesterday. If you didn't watch yesterday's update, I would suggest you go watch that. Pause this one, go back and watch that one. Because we left off with Russia in Syria, the real story.
The story that's not being covered.
Yeah, it's not being talked about. Russia has, I think, 16 warships. Right there. Now, people look at your map sometime and see where Syria is. It's right on the border. It's connected to Israel.
It's 85 miles from Damascus to Jerusalem.
Yeah.
That's how far they are.
Yeah, that's an hour and 20 minutes if you drive in the speed limit. And
I mean,
it's a matter of a couple minutes in a jet that's going 1,000 miles an hour or 2,000, whatever they do.
And they not only have all those, but they got their hypersonic missiles with nuclear warheads.
And they did a test right there in Syria, just miles from Jerusalem. Yep. They tested a hypersonic missile. Mm-hmm. And if that's not enough, a few days ago, I keep saying a few days, but time is passing, so maybe it's a week ago now, I don't know, Putin made the statement that the Golon Heights belong to Syria.
And I haven't heard, but I know the president, Bennett, spent 3 hours in Moscow yesterday. I haven't heard what come out of that conversation.
I just heard that. I don't know if I saw it before I came in the door here to the studio, and I forgot all about it. And that's kind of important.
Have you heard anything?
I have not. But that's.
I mean, best I understood, over the last year, Putin hadn't even let hardly anybody get within 20 feet of him. He's living kind of in a recluse life. He's scared to death.
And again, we don't know if that's even true.
Yeah, that's true. That might not even be true either.
How do we find out what is truth anymore? Yeah. The media lies to us. You can't believe. You can't believe half the stuff on Fox either. I hate to say it.
But he had a 3-hour meeting, flew up there with, I'm sure it's not about Ukraine. I'm sure it was about our border.
I'm sure he's going.
And what are you doing over there?
What's up over there with all them ships? It's hard to get around over here now. We keep bumping into your ships.
Yeah.
I know. I almost guarantee one thing he brought up. Mr. Putin, this is dangerous. Somebody could accidentally do something. And war, or to quote the Red October movie, wars have broken out for less than this.
And he probably reminded me, you might not be the one that started, but some of these Hezbollahs and all these other groups out of Iran, they wouldn't hesitate to start it and make it look like you did it.
Blow up one of his ships. And,
they would. But did you notice something last week? That's the first time I've seen it. But the Chechen rebels, they're all Islamic, and they were offering 30,000 Islamic troops
to go to fight with Russia.
Fight with Russia at Ukraine. That's the first. So that to me shows that knot is tying for this Ezekiel 38 war that we're talking about, because that's all of these nations that are coming, all the Magogs and your Persians and your Libyans and Ethiopia and all, they're all Islamics.
Yeah. Now, lest anybody gets confused, because we've had a couple calls, people thinking that we're Russian sympathizers or something.
No, not hardly.
We are not Russian sympathizers, but we're not Ukraine sympathizers either.
No.
And if people would study Ukraine and find out what's going on over there.
We do have empathy, and we are sorrowful about the loss of lives. That's always the case. Yeah. But there needs to be some reality checks made.
Yeah, well, starting World War III is not the answer.
No, it isn't.
Nobody wins that war. Now, we know biblically that the World War III is not going to happen, but that doesn't mean a couple cities don't get wiped off the face of the map.
Could happen.
Yeah. And there's nothing biblically that says that doesn't happen.
And it's pretty obvious if we're as close to the rapture as you and I think we are. A man called me this week and he said, I need some help. Why is it the white horse rider, how come all these people get killed? And I tried to help him understand. Doesn't mean the white horse rider of peace is going to ride very many days before the red horse rider of wars come.
Yeah.
So the wars are coming.
I had a verse here I was going to read, and I don't know where it is now. I think it was Matthew. It talks about wars and rumors of wars.
Wars and rumors of wars. But the end is not yet.
Well, here's one in Mark I can read. I got it here. Mark 13, verse 8. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom. Mm-hmm. And there shall be earthquakes in diverse places, famines, troubles. These are the beginning of sorrows.
Yep.
And,
just the beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah. People need to understand that it's not going to get better.
It doesn't. And it's going to get worse.
It's going to get worse. The world is going to be, I'm convinced, the world is going to be in major turmoil when the rapture takes place for the man of sin, son of perdition, the Antichrist. He's going to come on the scene like that white horse rider of peace. The world's going to be in chaos, and he's going to be the answer, they think.
Yeah. And I think when he shows up in Revelation 6, and we talked about this in the last program, the last update, it's one of two things. He's either just came back from a victory or he's going to fight. I believe he's come back from a victory and he somehow saved the world.
Well, I'm not sure he's the one who's going to save it, but he's going to take credit for it.
He's going to orchestrate
take credit
it.
For it.
Yeah.
That's very obvious.
I mean, there's always a foot soldier out there that saved the world, and the president gets the credit for it. Now, there are some generals that did some great things and organized things and led their men. I don't know where those guys are today. They've all been woke.
They've all been woke, and
I say all. We shouldn't say all. I'm sure there's some good men out there.
I don't think they're.
But the ones that we're seeing,
their hands are tied behind their back.
The ones that are working, the Joint Chiefs of Staff guy, Milley, and all them.
Yeah.
Shame on them. He ought to resign. He ought to resign and let somebody in there
that wants to be a soldier.
He's all about now gender stuff.
Oh, yeah. Well, they are holding a big conclave on gender and making sure you use the right terminologies and all this.
Well, there's nobody in Russia that has to worry about which bathroom you use.
No.
And I'm not saying we're pro-Russia, but at least the guy knows which bathroom is the right bathroom.
And they're not having to pass laws to tell a biological male he can't swim on the women's swimming team.
Yeah.
But we're woke,
Now, I heard today China already knew and endorsed this war with Ukraine.
Yep.
China already chose Russia's side. They only simply asked them to wait till after the Chinese Olympics.
Yeah.
Ain't that amazing? And America, we're over there in China too with that stupid Olympics. What in the world? Yeah. Crazy. And so China's involved here. Now they've cut off the money. They've cut off Putin's money. By the way, we're still buying oil from Russia right now.
But they're talking about now buying the oil from Iran,
Did you hear about the peace, the nuclear treaty with Iran that Russia is helping set up for us?
Yeah.
Now, you can't make this stuff up. You never believed this.
But the emergency meeting at the UN the other day on Russian aggression was overseen by the Russians.
Well, one guy, anybody can veto it. That's the thing. All the nations there.
But it was Russia it was their turn to oversee that meeting. You tell them, this world is upside down and backwards.
Yeah. So I can't say this enough, folks. NATO had no business even thinking about making Ukraine a NATO. First of all, they're corrupt.
Yes.
What in the world are we doing? And we know what we were doing. We were trying to get some missiles in there for us. It wasn't about the Ukraine people. Quit believing the lies out there. Quit believing these things. Calm me down, Mrs. Goodwin. Calm me down. I get excited up here. She's up there looking at me like this, and because I'm getting ready to preach here. And everybody thinks the Ukraine. We're trying to help them, that wonderful country. No, we don't care about you. Our government had one thing in mind. Let's get missiles there so that we can take out Russia quick if we have to.
Well, I don't know how true it is because you don't know what you can believe anymore. But I read the statistics the other day. Russia has many more nuclear warheads than we do.
I think that's true.
And they have upgraded theirs, and we have not.
You know what's scary, Doc? I was thinking about this the other day. Who's got more to lose by using nukes? We do.
We do.
Because we're the moral center of the world.
Yeah.
Russia, what do they got to lose? No. Nobody likes them. Everybody hates them. Nobody thinks they're moral. What has he got to lose by nuking somebody? And by the way, he's the one that's being pushed up against the wall here.
Yeah.
And, we made a huge mistake here. Donald Trump never would have done this.
Oh, no.
Donald Trump would have never mentioned any or allowed any mention of Ukraine becoming NATO getting involved there.
No.
He knew better.
Knew better.
This guy we got here now.
Well, they know better too, but they're pushing for war.
Yeah.
But I'm not so sure, Dan. It's not behind the scenes. I'm convinced are your folks like the Schwabs and other leaders of that nature, people that are not even politicians, who are pushing for a global reset. In order to do that, you're going to have to collapse the economies of the world.
Yeah.
And this would just about do it. This would be the straw that broke the camel's back.
Which leads us to the last topic we'll hit here on this. The finances. They're trying to find a way to hurt Russia without sending a bomb, obviously.
Yep.
And so they're cutting off their ability to do business in the world financially. Mm-hmm. And all this did was tie China and Russia closer together, because China won't back it. China is backing Russia.
Sure.
And so we're cutting off the Visa and MasterCard. And American Express, I heard, just canceled all transactions in Russia.
And I noticed yesterday that they're asking McDonald's to quit selling hamburgers to them. I kid you not. I'm serious.
I don't know what to do.
That was major news.
I hate to laugh because there's war going on, but you got to be kidding me.
No, I'm not
Quit
kidding.
selling hamburgers up there.
And Pepsi.
Well, McDonald's is a franchise. So if there's a McDonald's in Russia, it's owned by a Russian citizen. And it's none of our business if he sells hamburgers.
Yeah, but anyway.
My goodness.
It's a mess. It is a mess.
The finances, here's what hit me. Everybody's cheering, cut off their bank accounts. That's what Canada did to those truckers.
That's exactly what they did.
And they called them
terrorists.
Nazis, terrorists, yeah. And they weren't. They're flying Canadian flags, peaceful protests, cleaning up the streets, and they cut off their finances. Mm-hmm. And see, that's what rogue nations do to their people. And now we're all. I heard Martha McCallum, and I'm sure she's good on some stuff, but she was talking about Russia. She said some people in Russia need to turn on their president. They need to speak out. And she said they would, but that evil government over there, he'll come and arrest them, or he'll cut off their bank account. Wait a minute, isn't that what we're doing here to our people?
Exactly what they do.
That's what I don't understand. They're criticizing what we're doing. How come it's okay for our government to do that?
But that's how liberals work.
Yeah. How come it was okay for the Canadian government to attack their own people like that? Yeah. But when Russia does it, they're bad guys. And again, people say, oh, you're a Putin fan. I'm not a Putin fan. No. I'm just saying, how come it's okay for us to commit these atrocities, but they can't commit atrocities?
Well, it's because they live in a duplex world. They impose one law on you and live by another set.
And it's because we're over here and they're over there.
Oh, yeah.
And we want our way, and they're bad guys. We're good guys, they're bad guys. Yeah. Well, we ain't so good anymore.
I'm not. No, we've proven that.
Gone down the tubes so fast. And,
yes.
But it's like you say, it's headed somewhere.
It's headed for the the situation for a white horse rider to come in and save the world.
And I believe, Doc, and I think you agree with me, I believe it's very possible that Ezekiel 38 and the rapture are the same day.
If they're not the same day, boy, they might be the same week, because I'm telling you, it's right there together.
Yeah. And it is my opinion, I can't prove this, it's my opinion that rider on the white horse just came from somewhere, and that's why he's crowned. And he just somehow orchestrated a devastating battle where probably hundreds of thousands of people just died.
Oh, I'm sure of that, because if you just look at the math, and you look at the countries that are mentioned there, the Magog, and then you look at the Hamites.
Like 20% of them die or something.
Only 1/6 is left alive.
Right, there's 1/6 left alive.
Yeah, only 1/6
so,
left.
yeah, 80% of them die.
You're talking hundreds of thousands.
Yeah.
Oh, my soul.
You know, some of them are probably innocent 18-year-old kids.
Yeah.
And, you know, you want to talk about feeling sorry and having compassion for the people in Ukraine? Most of them soldiers aren't there by choice either.
Nope.
Them Russian soldiers probably got no choice but to be in that battle. Yep. And I don't know. It's awful. And
war is awful, period.
And it's going to last all the way until the end of the tribulation. When Christ comes on that white horse, yep. He comes to end the biggest battle in the history of the world, the Battle of Armageddon.
To that point, yeah. And then here comes that red horse rider. Yeah. Everybody's got the idea that the Antichrist comes on the scene and he's going to rule the world from there on. Hey, he's still battling for ultimate control by the time you get to the end of the thing.
Now, you might have misunderstood me. The Battle of Armageddon is at the end of the tribulation.
Oh, yeah.
That's the biggest battle probably in the history of the world up to that point.
Up to that. There'll be one more bigger than that, but it'll come
at
for
the end of the
1,000
Kingdom Age.
Come 1,000 years later, but yeah.
So I can't even go there. It's too far out. But the Battle of Armageddon, you and I are going to be involved in that. Yep. We're going to be coming back with the Lord. Yeah. And he's going to end that battle. It's amazing to me.
We're going to be the observers.
The kings of the world have all come to that place, the Valley of Megiddo. I've stood there. I think you've probably been there many times. My wife and I stood there looking down at the Valley of Megiddo, the place that Napoleon said was the greatest battlefield in the world.
Yeah.
And I wonder if he even understood that was the end time. He probably did.
He might have.
I don't think it's no secret. That's the place. But what's amazing in the Bible says they're not there to fight each other. They're there to fight against Christ.
They're coming. I think they're initially coming to fight against each other, only to realize, wait a minute, we have all got to join our forces against the aliens that are coming.
And it makes it easy for the Lord. They're all in one place. He just ends it right there.
He said, I'm bringing them there.
Yeah.
He says in Joel chapter 3, he said, I'm going to bring them to the Valley of Jezreel.
It's like I don't know if you've seen the Narnia movies. There's three of it. There's some real good typology in there and prophetic lessons. At the end of the second one, it's almost like the Battle of Armageddon. They're on the bridge and and on the other side of this bridge is the little girl, and it's funny. And he rides halfway across the bridge and he's looking. A little girl's come out to fight him. And then suddenly behind her is the lion. Of course, that's the Lord. Mm-hmm. And but it's almost like the battle of the water comes and wipes out the army and picks up the bridge. And the water's the shape of a man like God the Father. And it just wipes him out.
Yeah,
and,
I haven't seen him, though.
It's kind of like the scene of an end-time battle or something. But from through the eyes of C.S. Lewis when he wrote that trilogy there or whatever, however many books there are. But so cutting off the finances to get done with this here is tying them close, because China says no problem, you can do finances through us, no problem. You don't need America.
And China, I saw a major article yesterday. They've been hoarding half of the food of the world.
Yeah.
Did you see that article?
No, but I know that 20 or 30% of the world's wheat and fertilizer and all that comes out of Ukraine and Russia. And I heard a guy on Tucker, a farmer with 16,000 acres. Tucker brought him on, I don't remember his name. And the guy was pretty serious. And Tucker said, we need to have you back on. You know stuff. He said, you're a real farmer. 16,000. He said, I can't get fertilizer. Yeah. He said, if I can't get fertilizer, I can't grow my crops.
Yeah, my farmer that rents our land, he farms about 7,000 acres, and he locked his in and got it delivered last year because he could see what was coming.
See, people don't know this either. We're getting on rabbit trails here, but people don't realize if you're a farmer and you're, registered with whoever you're registered, you don't just go get seed where you want. You got to get seed through the government. The government's controlling all.
Well, you get them through the corporations that produce them, but
the co-ops and all that.
The co-ops, they're all a part of the political structure.
You can't grow your own seed. You can't have seed crops.
Well, all seed are genetically manipulated, and that's all done in their factories. And
not the seed. My wife, she's frowning at you right now. My wife won't eat that stuff.
But that's
the GMO stuff.
That's what it all is.
She gets the.
That's how we've got
organic stuff.
That's how we've got our yields up so high in our field.
That can't possibly be good for us.
No.
I mean, what's that doing to our body? This.
Mm-hmm. But that's what, and that's how we went into Iraq and did what we did. We confiscated all their open pollinated seed and gave them GMO altered seed. They increased their yield, but now they got to go back the next year to the government and buy their seed.
That plugs you into a system that you can be locked out of.
You're controlled.
And so I'm a little surprised that a guy could get his supplies a year in advance like that.
Yeah.
But he's probably one of the few that did that.
He's a pretty good farmer.
Yeah. And he probably saw, what, next year,
Yep.
I better get my stuff now. Yeah. Now, I don't know if he has it or just locked it in. That doesn't mean
he's got it.
Okay. Don't give out his address.
No.
That could be valuable. That could be like gold.
Yeah.
All right. So, in other words, this is going to hurt everybody.
It is going to be difficult.
And who caused this? I believe America did.
I think we did, but it's all a part of the overall plan. Prophecy said the world is going to go this direction. Not that God's making it, but God in His foreknowledge knew it.
Yeah.
And here we are.
And it could be with the ships, the Russian ships outside of Syria. Could be why Israel's leader just had the meeting with Putin.
Something's up.
And they've tested those nuclear missiles there, the hypersonic missiles. And people keep pushing Mr. Putin, keep poking the bear. He might just say, you know what am I messing around here for? I'm moving down. They're cutting my finances off. They're starving my people. I'm going down there, and I'm going to go to the mountains of the Golon Heights, and I'm going to take Israel.
Yep.
And that's where Ezekiel 30. By the way, we didn't mention it before. The Golon Heights is
the mountains of the north. Yeah.
Where that battle will take place.
Ezekiel 38. Yes.
And Putin just made the statement days ago that those Golon Heights belong to Syria. Yeah. Trump said they belong to Israel.
Yeah.
Putin just recently. Now, why did Putin bring that up?
That's a good question.
Yeah. In other words, maybe the battle starts with, I'm not really going after Israel. We're going to help take the Golon Heights that belongs to Syria. That's all.
Well, I'm sure that played into the reason for Bennett making his trip to Moscow. Yep.
Yeah. I wouldn't mess with Israel if I was
I wouldn't
their world
either.
leader.
That's going to be their downfall. Yep.
And in closing here, Doc, isn't it interesting what God has done in the last 2 years, or last 1 year actually? He's removed Donald Trump. He's removed Netanyahu. Mm-hmm. I don't know what other world leaders have been shifted around, but it's almost like everything's being set in place, and it's all getting ready to happen.
It's getting ready. I'm convinced we're knocking on the door, brother.
Yeah. The
trumpet's tuned up and ready to blow.
All right, folks, don't forget our TV show, Friday nights at 7 on CTN, Christian Television Network, or just watching right here on YouTube. We have a radio program. It's also here on YouTube, but it's on 40-some stations across the country. Go to the website. You can click on radio. You can find out where all those play. But we're doing basically 3 YouTube videos a week. We're doing the radio program. We're doing an update, and we're doing a TV show. The reason this week there's a couple extra updates is because they messed up our schedule at the TV program. So we didn't. Anyway, long story short, we got a couple extra updates here. But I think these will be helpful to people. Maybe it'll stir some of you up. Maybe it'll make some of you mad. That's okay. I'm not for Mr. Putin, and I'm not necessarily for the corrupt country of Ukraine either. I'm not for Russia taking over. But I understand what's happened here, and I understand that the NATO thing was a pretty big deal.
Yes, very big deal.
America would have done the same thing. America wouldn't have stood for it.
Yep.
And I don't know why people don't get that. If America had Ukraine on its border, if Mexico was going to become a Russian nation, we wouldn't put up with that. No. Can you imagine if Mexico decided to become communist and join Russia, and Russia was going to bring missiles? We'd attack them. We wouldn't put up with it.
Nope.
Yeah. And by the way, that's what keeps World War III away. Boundaries and buffer zones. We've got to have them. So, all right. On that note, we'll get off of here. And don't forget, we're coming up to our bill coming due in just a couple weeks. So if you'd like to help us, hit that donate button on the website or send a check or whatever. We need you to partner with us. We're totally dependent upon the donations and the partners of the listeners and the viewers out there. So if you like what you hear on these programs, we need you to help us, okay? All right, until next time, keep your eyes on them skies.